But we begin with the war in Ukraine, where an American is dead after joining the fight against Russian forces.
This is the first known American killed in action in Ukraine. Relatives say 22-year-old Willie Joseph Cancel traveled to Europe in March to join a brigade of international soldiers fighting alongside Ukrainian forces. The U.S. Marine veteran leaves behind a wife and a 7-month-old baby. Cancel's death comes as Ukraine's president accuses Russia of trying to humiliate the United Nations after unleashing an intense missile attack on Kyiv. It happened Thursday during a visit by the UN Secretary General, who had just met with Russian officials in Moscow not long before the attack.
CBS News foreign correspondent Chris Livesay joins us now live in Kyiv. Chris, good to see you. How is the UN responding to Russia's assault on Kyiv while the Secretary General was in town? Do we know more about what the motivation behind the attack was? Obviously, beyond destruction, were they trying to send a message to the international community?
Well, Mo, it was shocking. In fact, that was the response from the U.S. Secretary General Antonio Guterres. He said not just because he was there when it happened, but because Kyiv is such a sacred place, both to Ukrainians and to Russia. It's actually where the Orthodox Church was founded about 1,000 years ago. But shocking just because of, yes, the symbolism of striking a city while the UN Secretary General is here. Not just that, he had been in Moscow the day before, meeting with Vladimir Putin, talking about ways of toning down this war. He was looking at Mariupol and that horrible case of the steel mill there where there are civilians trapped inside. It seemed like a relatively productive meeting in which they agreed to helping evacuate these civilians. And then the next day, the Russian military slams a missile into the capital of Kyiv, where the head of the United Nations has just finished touring Bucha, touring Irpin, these names that are now infamous in this war as being slaughtering fields. And then he meets with the president of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky. And then just moments later is when this missile slams into Kyiv, not very far, I should add, from where the Secretary General was staying. I mean, it's just shocking to contemplate that, what was in it for Russia to do something like this. So I don't know what their motives were, apart from the fact that it was close to what appears to be a legitimate military site. It struck a residential building just across the street from this laboratory that develops arms. But it didn't hit that building. It hit this residential building, and so far we know it killed one person inside. But the timing certainly sends a message to the world that no place in Ukraine is safe.
Yeah, a little too close for comfort. What's the latest on efforts to secure safe passage for all of those people trapped in Mariupol?
Right. So as I mentioned, Antonio Guterres, the UN Secretary General, had been in Moscow just a couple of days ago, talking to Moscow about those terms, because, of course, you can't help anybody in Mariupol right now without getting the agreement from the Russian military. Today, the government of Ukraine said that an evacuation plan was supposed to take place today, but we simply haven't heard more on that. Unfortunately, this is just a sad story that keeps repeating itself at this point. I should emphasize, because Russia has been a bad actor over and over again. There have been humanitarian corridors secured in Mariupol over these past 8 weeks by now, and on multiple occasions there have been reports of Russian forces firing on those humanitarian corridors. And at this steel mill in particular, Vladimir Putin had told his troops to bear down and to not invade, and then the very next day they began bombing it again and trying to seize control of this steel mill. So it's become sort of the Aleppo of this war. Aleppo being that infamous city that was bombed into dust during the Syria war. Mariupol, and specifically this steel mill, unfortunately has taken on that same level of significance. And unfortunately, we just can't say when or if these civilians and their protectors inside will be saved.
Let's just hope this doesn't go as long as the war in Syria did. Chris Livesay, thank you so much.